The US just made a massive move in the trucking world. Effective immediately, all new work visas for commercial truck drivers have been paused. Why, you might be asking? Well, it all started with a crash in Florida involving a foreign driver without English proficiency. Now the government says this pause is about protecting American lives and American jobs. But what does this truly mean, and who does this actually affect? So who does it not affect first? This does not affect any truck drivers who are actually crossing the border from Canada or from Mexico under some type of trade agreement. That's still going to be allowed without any issues. This also does not affect any current visa holders already driving in the US. So as long as your visa has not expired, you are safe when it comes to this pause. However, who does it truly affect? It affects any new applications coming in, or any extensions in the process are 100% frozen, which means what's ever in the system now is just going to kind of wear out until the time expires, and no new people are going to be able to get reapplied until everything is worked out. So when I actually started researching this, I wanted to take a deep dive and exactly find out what type of visas are we talking about here, how do people actually get visas to become truck drivers and can't even speak the language. And after everything that I found out, you're definitely going to want to wait till the end of the video to really understand everything. You might hate it, or you might actually get a lot more enlightened. So wait till the end, and I can't wait to see what you say in the comments below. All right, so now let's talk about the visas. There's a few different visas out there that truck drivers are using, but the most common one is called the H-2B visa, which technically is a temporary work visa for non-farm jobs. And how does this actually work? It actually happens when employers can't find American workers for any type of job. In this specific case, it's going to be truck driving jobs. So when these employers cannot find American workers to actually fulfill these jobs, now it gives the employers the opportunity to find somebody overseas and petition for them with this visa to come and work for their company. Now this visa lasts about a year, but you can maximize it for 3 total years. So that means you can constantly keep extending it for a total of 3 years itself. Even though it's temporary, that's usually how the current process is working now, and that has been the process that is actually been frozen. So when you think about how this whole process works, an employer has a trucking company and they need drivers. They can't find any US drivers out there. So what do? They find somebody who they think is going to be a good fit. They'll then apply for the petition, apply for the visa, go through the process. Once they are fully approved, they'll bring that person into the state itself on this work visa, where they'll get a social security number and all the proper documentation that they need. They'll put them into truck driving school, or they'll try to train them themselves if they're an approved training provider, and then they'll get themselves a CDL license one way or the other, and then they'll actually start working as soon as possible. So the process they go through to actually get a CDL license is the similar process that anyone was going to go through. They're going to have to go get their CDL permit, pass all the written tests. They're then going to have to pass a 2.5-hour long road test to get your actual license. And depending on who's training them, depends if you're going to have issues or not. Because the main issue comes down to English proficiency, right? So a lot of people are saying that after this guy got into the accident in Florida, the cops actually tested him a bunch, and he wound up failing the test dramatically. And because of that, it actually causes a lot of safety concerns there. But what kind of license did he actually have? He had a CDL license, that is correct, but specifically he had a non-domiciled CDL license. So what does that actually mean? I've actually never heard this term, and I've been in the industry for a long time. And after I started researching it, it really opened up my eyes. So there's a few states across the country that actually offer these non-domicile CDL licenses. And pretty much it's for non-US nationals. So what does that mean? People who legally are able to be in the country, but don't really have any actual permanent address because they don't have any permanent residency. So there's actually a handful of states that actually offer non-domicile CDLs. And I started researching how many of these non-domicile CDLs are actually out there, and the numbers were kind of crazy. I saw over 60,000 non-domicile CDLs out there. Now, they might be good, they might be bad, but let's kind of walk through which states are the biggest issuances of non-domicile CDLs. So you're going to be talking about states like Washington, Nebraska, Virginia, Indiana, Illinois, Texas, Oregon, South Carolina, Maine, and California have some of the highest. As an example, Texas alone has over 50,000 non-domicile CDL licenses out there. Now, what is the potential problem with this itself? So when you actually go through this, that means you're bringing somebody who's not a United States citizen, and they're not a resident of the States, which means English is probably not their first language, And in many cases, depending on how they get their training done, they actually might not have to speak English throughout the entire way. And that's what actually caused this entire pause to the system. Because the US government is like, hey, there's definitely something wrong with the system specifically. They have rules. They want every single truck driver out there to make sure that they can read street signs and understand signs and be able to communicate with law enforcement and any other truck driver out there so they can act safely. Now, how does this actually affect the trucking industry as a whole? When you think about it, you're bringing in over 60,000 people who have non-domicile CDL licenses, which means the only reason that they have their CDL license is they're here on a work visa. And that work visa is tied just to that one employer. So when you actually think about, hey, a lot of people are talking about rates being down, I can't make as much money in trucking. Now by law, they have to pay them the same amount of wages that they would pay anybody else for this role. But behind closed doors, what winds up happening is a lot of times they're going to pay them on the books, no problem, but they're going to be receiving a lot of funds back, right? So any funds when it comes to housing, any funds that comes to training fees, and all these other fees that are associated with getting them here and getting them situated are going to be taken away. Now in that case, what winds up happening, the employer is able to kind of pay them less effectively because the money's coming back to them, and now they're able to actually operate on lower rates than other people who are just hiring normal American employees. And that's where things are not becoming fair to the actual marketplace itself. But that's where the government is actually starting to open up their eyes and say, okay, how do we actually protect the American truck driver, and how do we make sure that this entire country continues to grow? This is not an immigration thing whatsoever. This is about how do we create a fair playing environment where everyone follows the same rules, and now we can compare apples to apples, and now the entire country can actually continue to grow and everybody can make more money. So what does this actually mean if you have a CDL license already and you're currently working? That most likely means that you're going to have a lot more work coming to you, which means rates should start rising because a lot of truck drivers are going to be pulled out of this system itself, right? And if you don't have your CDL license yet, right now might be one of the best opportunities to actually get your CDL license, because when any of this stuff starts happening, there's going to be a lot of openings. So imagine all these visas that were about to get approved and about to get hired as for truck driver companies. These trucking companies still have to hire somebody, which means they're going to start looking a lot more inside the country to fulfill these roles, which means in order to compete, they're going to have to start competing on pricing as well, which means they're going to start advertising, hey, come to me, I'm going to give you a sign-on bonus, come to me, I'm going to offer you this perk or that perk, and it's going to be an amazing thing if you walk in with your actual CDL itself. Now the thing you have to understand is a lot of these companies that are doing this, the people coming over from overseas don't really have that much experience driving tractor trailers in America, because tractor trailers in other parts of the world are completely different, which means that they're a lot more open to hiring a brand new student coming out of school with no experience. But the cool thing is, if you're a student here at Driving Academy, we'll help you out with all of that. We have guaranteed training courses where we'll give you unlimited tries at the road test and over 100 hours of training, so you're 100% prepared to get yourself into the industry. And we also offer lifetime job placement, so it's our job to help you find a job for the rest of your life itself. And all you need to get started is $500 down, and we're open up 7 days a week, which means we can work out a schedule around your needs, so you can still keep working full-time and come to school on a part-time basis. So ultimately, who is this going to affect negatively? Anybody who's in the process of getting their visa renewed, or anybody in the process of actually starting a new visa to become a truck driver. I'm sorry, unfortunately, everything on that has been delayed. But if you are an American and you're looking to change your careers, getting a CDL license right now might be one of the best things that you do for your life, for your future, and for your family itself. So what are you waiting for? Click the link, go to our website, cdldrivingacademy.com, and put in the comments below, what is your thoughts for this thing? Is it going to be good for the industry, bad for the industry, or do you have something completely different that I didn't even talk about? I'd love to learn more. Thanks, and I'll see you soon. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. If you want to get your CDL license, you know where to go. Check out our website, cdldrivingacademy.com, right over there. And if you like this video, you'll definitely like this video right over here, so make sure you check that out. But before anything else, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you soon.